Good morning, Silver Creek.
Good morning.
So this morning we are live streaming. So don't say it. We can't edit right now. So make sure you keep your P's and Q's.
Say whatever you want, Dean.
We're so excited to have our three panelists here this morning. Sorry, the sound's a little bit cracky. Can you hear me okay though?
Yeah.
Very cool. So if we haven't met before, my name is Liz. I'm the marketing director here at Silver Creek Realty Group. This week marks my 6th month with Silver Creek, and I just want to say thank you guys all for making my job so easy. My job is to make sure that you all have the proper tools to make yourselves look good and do good at what you do. And making Silver Creek Realty Group look good is probably the easiest job in the world, and let me tell you why. First let's thank our sponsors actually. So our primary sponsor is Don Crochet with a Landmark Home Warranty. So thank you so much for being such a generous sponsor for us. Our second sponsor is Lucy Dixon with Lucy Dixon Home Staging. Lucy staged this front area. It's a beautiful, beautiful stage for us. And then she also decorated our food area in the back, and it looks stunning as usual. She does an amazing job. We also have Abby Blossom here. She gave us a very generous donation with her photography. We appreciate everything she does, and she's very talented at what she does. So look for those photos after. It's going to be great. All right, back to why it's easy to represent. Silver Creek Realty Group has been #1 in sales since 2014. It is incredible. Every single year since 2014, we've continued to grow in sales. In 2019, we did $3.42 billion in inventory. That's up $320 million from the year before. That's absolutely outstanding. And I know that we know these stats from before, but I just want to reiterate that that is a big deal. Silver Creek Realty Group makes a huge difference in Idaho from the ground level up, and it's because of every single one of you and everything that you do that makes that happen. We have sold 10,832 homes in the year of 2019. We're 15 days less than average on the IMLS as far as time on market. And it's fantastic. We also sell more new construction than anyone else in Idaho. We represent consistent growth. We have the catalog and tools to get things done, right? What is even cooler, we've moved more paperwork, we've dealt with more forms, more files, more checks and documents and signatures through our corporate office than any other office in Idaho. And look at what we get. It is not easy to be recognized on the honor roll. IREC gave us honor roll for the nth year in the row. We continue to hit honor roll every single year, and that's not easy to do, especially with the amount of volume that we represent. So that's fantastic. I think that you should all give yourselves a round of applause and also give your staff a hand, right? It is because of our incredible staff up in our corporate office that we make great things happen. Okay, enough about Silver Creek and our unlimited opportunity. Let me introduce our speakers today. This morning we have Shane Hall, Toby Hawley, and David McKenzie. So the way that this is going to work is I'll introduce each of them as they come up and speak. They have about 10 to 15 minutes to present to you a little bit about what they do, where they're from, what they're working on, and the way that they got where they're at. Once we are finished, it'll be about an hour of them presenting. We're going to open it up for questions. So you'll see these little note card pads sitting around. Feel free to grab those note cards, write down questions, and we have Alicia and Kelsey back here picking up questions throughout their talk. We'll open it up for questions in the second hour, and we're excited to see what you guys have to ask and what they have for us. So we're going to start here with Shane Hall. Shane is a world traveler and a regional manager for the fastest growing smart home company in America. He has leveraged Instagram and social media marketing to build his own base income, which led to building a nationwide team and thus igniting the significant momentum throughout his own company. He runs 140 Instagram accounts with over 1 million followers collectively. He's traveled to over 70 countries, promoting lifestyle as a personal brand. The world is his office, and Idaho is his home. Please welcome Shane Hall.
How many people are from Idaho? All right. Born and raised. I'm very blessed and fortunate to be born in Idaho. I'm also fortunate to see a lot of the world. But guys, world's my office, but Idaho is definitely my home. The people in Idaho are amazing. And I was very fortunate to grow up in a blue-collar family over in Nampa. My dad made a huge killing with $11,000 a year. We had a super shiny single-wide trailer, and my parents worked really hard to provide for me, right? But in Idaho, you get a really good support system on a blue-collar work ethic, right? So they implanted a vision in me that, if you don't have a lot, you can dream as big as you want. That's the best part. And the initial vision was, hey, what about going to school? What would happen if you went to school? To put in perspective, my mom was the first high school diploma in her genealogy, and there still was one until me, and there's still two, right? So very, very fortunate to have that foundation of you can think however you want to think. The second fortunate thing I had is I went to college and to really develop some really good student loans. I have a piece of paper, it's in a box somewhere that says I should be a teacher. A professor in college informed me that I probably wouldn't make it through the educational system, and my career might end pretty soon with my thinking. So I get done, and I'm sitting there, $25,000 in debt, sleeping on my buddy's couch, and I'm going, man, I can't even afford to fly to my own college graduation in Missouri. This led a huge opportunity to sales, right? Everybody in here does sales. And sales is infinite, and it's easy all the time. There's no stress. There's no worries. There's no highs and lows. Selling a house, selling a smart home, you show up, people love you. So I go into it because my buddy said, hey, when you figure this sales thing out, you'll no longer be in debt. You won't have to be on the couch anymore. And he's like, maybe you can see a little bit of the world. So I go into it part-time. Everyone's a realtor in here. You dabble in it first. You work your warm network. And I think over the course of 2-3 months, I made $0, so that was inspirational. So I was like, man, if I can make $1, it's a 100% increase. So then I go after it, right? And those first 8 weeks were great because I made about maybe 6 weeks, 700 whopping dollars. It was just flooding it, right? So here's your bills, here's $700, and here's ramen noodles. Fortunately for me, through the course of my life, I've had very good mentors, amazing individuals that kind of push you along a little longer, right? They push you outside your comfort zone, right? I would say everybody in this room, few of you wrote down, I want to be a realtor when I grow up, okay? And those people kept me going. And then finally it clicked. We all know sales is just a matter of time. Put a little bit of pain in, put a little time in, and it'll click. I was fortunate, like you guys, to be in a very good situation. I know Silver Creek very well. I've purchased property with Silver Creek. My realtor, Christian Bernardo, works over here. I know, Liz, amazing Liz. We actually did an art show. She was a featured artist for me. I have a studio that Silver Creek helped me purchase, and we raised money for an orphanage in Cambodia. So I'm very connected with Silver Creek. And if there's something I want to plant in your mind, you have a very huge opportunity here because your barrier to entry and your accessibility to good information is there. You all took time to come in here to learn. And there's a lot of real estate companies in Idaho. You guys statistically are killing it. So one, give yourselves a round of applause, because that's you guys. That's awesome. So social media, right? Okay, Shane, great. I sell smart homes. You sell houses. What does that have anything to do with social media? And you must understand this. I initially despised social media, right? I think it's stressful. It was a waste of time. It was getting away with my sales reps on the doors. Get off your phone, right? It was everything that was negative about society coming up, right? Because I grew up with blue collar. I was a firefighter for 4 years. This was an outside my realm. But I had two very distinct conversations that changed my mind. Okay, in the room, you're either selling houses, you're growing a team, or you're growing a brand in a company. That's the three things that are going on, right? So I hit a spot where I pushed really, really hard. I hit those high numbers, that high earnings off of my sweat and knocking doors and selling smart homes, okay? Then you realize, man, that's a heck of a push if you want to do it year in, year out. I started thinking, what if I hired somebody? So I started hiring, okay? I'm a regional manager with AmpSmart. 2 of the last 3 years, we've been the fastest growing smart home company in America. We're privately owned, and it gives me a lot of accessibility and time. So then I sit down with these millennials, and I start hiring, because I'm a first generation millennial, right? And I'm like, I'm gonna build a team, right? And millennials, the best part about us is our work ethic's great, we don't argue, we fall in line, no complaints. We show up, we want to raise immediately. It's so easy to work with us. And so I start hiring, and I'm sitting there with a college student at Boise State. And I'm like, man, I was in 12 countries, and about 5 months, I made an aggressive financial earnings. I was debt-free, I was traveling the world, and we go through this stuff, and I'm like, he's gonna want to do this. And he says something that was really interesting. He goes, no offense, but I couldn't find you on Instagram. And I'm like, okay, all right. I was just at Machu Picchu, buddy, right? I was skydiving on Tuesday. So he's going, he's like, I see no skydiving, I see no Machu Picchu. And at that time, to relate to some people in the room, I'd been to 25 countries and never posted a picture. I really sincerely did not care what you think. You don't need to like me at the Coliseum. I'm there. I have a degree in history, and I was passionate about history and seeing the world. But here he was saying he wasn't going to work with me because it didn't make sense. He goes, it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, it makes sense. So I show him a couple pictures, and he goes, oh, okay, I'm in. And I'm like, wow, that's weird. So there's the hiring side. There's the building a team side, right? Then I'm out there selling. And one of my guys are in a house, he's closing a deal, and the guy's on the fence. I come, we're setting up the smart home, going through, me and this guy getting a great conversation. We're talking about world travel, this, and I'm like, man, I was swimming with sharks in Africa, a month ago, and then I was over doing this, and I bungee jumped, and we get done, and we connect, and I leave, and I think I'm so cool, and I text my sales rep, I'm like, that's closed down, isn't it? And he goes, sure, except for he thinks you're a liar. I was like, what? Well, let's be honest. Winky face? Yeah. Confusing face? He goes, Shane, he doesn't believe what you talked about. He wants the system, but he doesn't believe, and he's kind of questioning you. So I send him these pictures, right? Something I'm really baffled by this at the time. Send him the pictures. Boom, system get installed. Guy follows me on Instagram. Or at that time, Facebook, I had like one picture. And I went, oh no. And everybody in this room knows that moment. You made a decision, you had a vision to do sales for some particular reason. Change your life, be a better parent, see the world, be debt-free, have freedom, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden the game started changing. Okay? And I call that reality. Where is... You want to click? Oh, yeah, click. Cool. Okay. So guys, the vision I had for me originally was I didn't want to be in a trailer house, and I didn't want to do manual labor as much, okay? And I love my family. Like I said, I'm very, very blessed. The second vision I had is I didn't want to sleep on a couch and be in debt and live a normal life. I wanted to see the world. Okay? Sales was my vessel. Then the market changed, and social media pops up. So let's say emotionally you don't believe what I'm saying and you're like, Shane, I don't want to post a stupid picture. I agree. Right? We'll get to that. So let me present to you guys two things. The precursor is Silver Creek is dominating the market in Idaho. Okay? You guys have access to all the information that shows winning. That's it. You have your formula. Like the Patriots or not, they keep winning. Okay? Because they have a formula. The world begs to differ on if traditional marketing is still dominant. Just this year, digital marketing surpassed traditional marketing. That's just what it is. Guys, in 5 years, it's not going to be called digital marketing because, by the way, it's just marketing now. 3.2 billion of the Earth's population use social media. It's almost half. Okay? Who's the top social media users? Millennials. Like us, hate us, whatever. We're here. And you're going to have to sell us a house. Okay? You guys, I mean, right there, like, let's just stop right there. Just stop. Half the world uses social media. How much does Facebook and Instagram cost? Anybody? Zero. Interesting. When you're running a business, net, gross, right? If you're looking at your net profit, what you spend, 54%, right? Individuals use social media to research products. What I found is there was 3 things being researched on me. One, when I was setting up a smart home, they want to know about me. I just show them my Instagram. Like, there it is. Follow me around the world. It's cool. I'm not going anywhere. So when I set up an individual, all of a sudden they know me. They feel like they know me. We're connected, which takes away a lot of mystery. Okay? The other thing is running a team. Some of you guys are looking to build a team. Millennials don't want to work with you unless they trust you. Trust is a huge issue nowadays. They want to show me. They want to know. The third is building a brand and building a company. As Liz stated, I'm very fortunate. Alan Bolden, CEO of Amp Smart, and our social media advisor, Jeremy, we had an idea. Alan and I were surfing. We're down there. We had a board meeting. Alan's good at surfing. I like to find myself at the bottom of the ocean sometimes rolling around because I'm from Idaho. And the waves here are rocking, by the way. And I go, dude, we're on a surfboard. Bro. I go, all we got to do is film this. And then they want to do this, and that's what we do. I mean, it should be harder than that, right? So all this stuff here, guys, works. Between me, Alan, a guy named Jeremy New, we decided, hey, let's help other people build their brand. They sell smart homes. They get income. We teach millennials and individuals how to build their brand, and we'll help you build your Instagram, which turned into 1.5 million followers. When we roll out an idea or concept in the world of Amp Smart, it impacts, it goes a long ways. Okay? Which leads to your sphere of influence. Okay? Now, this is a 100% made up quote because my grandpa doesn't care about sphere of influence. He's an old cowboy. My grandpa has more quotes across America than anybody, by the way. It's awesome. Every presentation he has a quote. Your sphere of influence determines the influence on your bank account. Completely made that up, but it makes a lot of sense. Guys, your sphere of influence, if you're selling a house, you go to your warm network, right? You deplete that, you get your first sale, you go, this is easy. All I gotta do is call John. And then John bought a house, he doesn't want another house. Okay? My sphere of influence through social media has expanded me coast to coast. My sphere of influence has allowed me to go around the world and do business meetings around the world. I just did a business meeting in Austria and Romania at Dracula's Castle on Halloween because I'm helping building a brand out for a coffee company that's located in Arkansas. And we're millennials, so we got to go to Austria to talk about it. Okay? Okay? Now, let me empathize for a lot of people that are struggling with social media. Okay? Yes, It is, if you go to my Instagram, I just posted the CEO, Alan, and I, he's the #1 hunter in the world in archery. The guy gets after it. We were talking about how social media is definitely not fully positive for some people. Guys, it's depression's at an all-time high. We're in the #1 country in the world for economy. We have the #1 military in the world. Guys, I've seen the world. We're safe here. This is great. And yet depression's at an all-time high. Interesting, right? And I think a lot of it, half is because kids weren't as fortunate to grow up poor and struggle like a lot of people in the room, right? But they don't want to hear your story. They don't care. They want to see your picture. You know? So you need to define why you would even do social media. This is what I will give to you. Are you doing it for fun? Are you doing it to build a brand? Are you doing it to sell a house? Because when you fully understand that, as you start putting time in, you're going to get a return, right? And that's where a lot of people struggle and they get really stressed on social media. Is it's tough. It's learning something new. You know, we all don't take our own advice. Go do something new, and then something new comes up on social media like, yeah, that's not me. I mean, half the world does it. But it's not me. So I'm going to leave that with you guys. Define that. Really sit and think why you would do it, because it's work. D-Mac and I were talking about the other day. We're averaging how much time we spend on it. It's work. Okay? Why would you do it? I only do it to monetize and build my brand and stuff. Right? That's why I do it. Okay? So I have a formula that I'll give to you guys, right? Because I work with Silver Creek a lot, and it's a formula used that I do. Oh, mic's on. It's a formula I use for when I do consulting, right? So I'm a regional manager for AMP Smart, but I do consulting, and the #1 topic I consult on nowadays is millennials. You guys are pissed off. Right? So this formula I can send to you, reverse engineer the formula. It talks about defining your vision. It's a different way to go about it, and then you can apply it to why and if you would do social media, all right? So last thing I'll leave with you guys is this. If half the world is doing it, okay? If millennials are making up 90% of that market space, okay? You can do the age on when people pass away and when people stop buying houses. And the #1 most represented age group in the world is millennials. So you can be a victim and sit around and wonder why. Or you can start doing some educational things and figure it out, because it comes down to your sphere of influence and impacts your business. That's all I got.
Thank you, Shane. Yeah, Toby will take that. You gotta click it once for me. Yep, down. One more. Yep, down. Too much going on here. That was awesome, Shane. We appreciate it. Oh, oops, other down. Sorry, guys.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
There we go. Okay, now we have Toby. Toby is a 5th-generation Idahoan. Her great-grandfather, James Hawley, was Idaho's 9th governor. Toby loves the science behind how we connect not just with each other, but also within ourselves. Her passion for human connection led her to obtain a BS in psychology from the University of Idaho. Armed with an education and a love for business, she went on to combine those skills in creating authentic relationships, specifically online. She is a real estate agent with us at Silver Creek Realty Group and doubles as an Instagram coach. Instagram is the perfect home for her creativity, sales savvy, understanding of human psychology, and conveniently home to over 1 billion other users. Please welcome Toby Hawley.
Thank you, Liz. Now I'm down, okay. All right, guys. It's my turn. Okay, so I want to dive into a lot of how with my segment of presentation. I love mindset. You know, I think we all know it's a thing, but how do we do it, right? So I'm an agent, just like you guys, so I can really appreciate everybody's standpoint in this room. That's how I got started. So, see here, this was my dilemma. I'm a brand new agent. I maxed out my credit card to get my license. You know, I did not have a marketing budget, and I didn't have, so we look into traditional sales methods like, okay, print marketing, door knocking, cold calls. None of those things really resonated with me. It seemed like, and even as I got started like doing events, all of these different things, I didn't have any metrics. It was a lot of time and or money in, and I wasn't sure what I was getting out of it, and I wasn't as easy as to track. So how do I find as many people as possible with no money all wearing sweatpants? Because I didn't want to leave the house as much as possible. And my answer to that ended up being Instagram. So I won't spend a lot of time on this, but a common question that I get is why Instagram versus some of the other social platforms, and my answer to that is engagement, and organic engagement in particular is really important. So in my experience with Facebook, when I first started, I was on all of the platforms, and I just found really quickly that Instagram was favorably engineered towards discovery of new accounts and organic engagement without a budget, right? So if I was gonna run a campaign on Facebook, I think it could have a nice return, but it was gonna cost me some money, which I didn't wanna spend. So typically when I am consulting, I got started doing the Instagram thing in real estate, and I just put all of my chips in the Instagram basket, and it grew pretty organically, pretty quickly. And from that, I just started getting questions of like, well, how are you doing this? How are you making this work? And after giving that information for free away for several years, I kind of figured out, okay, I want to systematize this and formalize it a little bit. So my process with my consulting clients is sort of this. Step one, we have to build it. We have to build a profile. So we all know that our attention spans are like seconds, right? You have very little time to make an impression. So before we focus on driving traffic, we want to create and optimize a profile that is something that is going to make somebody hit follow, hit like, hit comment. We want to create something that's really, really endearing for them to click on, and we don't have a lot of time, and we also don't have a lot of characters to work with. So I kind of start with your profile photo and work my way down when we're optimizing your profile. So just a quick heads up, like on your photo, like have it be bright, have it be clear. You don't necessarily have to invest in a professional photographer if you're not quite to that point yet, but be mindful of that photo and have maybe some eye contact, right? So people want to engage with a face. They want to be able to see you. So, and then we get to the bio. So my 3 Ps, who is the person you help? What is the problem you solve? And what is the promise you deliver? It's just kind of, this is just sort of a baseline to get you thinking about like what you're all about. And I have on here, think of your grid as a brochure for your business, working 24 hours a day to tell the world who you are and what you're about. It's kind of what I love about digital marketing and having this presence on Instagram. It's working for me whether I'm working or not, right? It's always there for somebody to go to if they want to search me, or I have the word Boise in my handle, and I have that for a reason, right? Anybody that types in Boise, I want my name to pop up. And because of that, now if you search Toby or Boise anywhere on Google, on Instagram, my profile is the first one to pop up. And that's why I kind of went that direction. So these are just a couple visual examples of profiles that I really like and that I think are doing a good job. So Kelly, she is a local branding gal, a web designer. I definitely have worked with her in the past, really like her. But so she has up here, helping passionate entrepreneurs up-level their business. So she's telling us who she's for, right? So if I'm cruising Instagram and I see this, I'm a passionate entrepreneur, that tells me right away, she's for me, up level. So she also does web design, visual branding, social media. She's just telling us what she's all about. She's giving us a lot of information in very few characters. And she's got her email in there, making it easy for her to contact. Hot tip for you, one of the reasons she has that in there, so she's trying to grow, right? She's in growth phase, she's trying to expand. There are businesses that are looking for influencers to work with, and one of the metrics they use to search for brands, influencers to partner with, is having an email in their bio. So I definitely recommend that. I have it in mine as well. Then over here we have Dustin Hughes. Some of you may know him. He's an agent. He's a real estate photographer in town. Dustin has some of the best organic engagement of anyone that I follow. He's an incredible storyteller. So one of the things about Instagram, like, I want you guys to think about playing to your strengths. If you're a good writer, write. If you take fun, cool photos, do that. If you're entertaining, you're good at telling jokes, making people smile, do that. Just spend some time kind of thinking about, you know, what you have in your wheelhouse. So yeah, Dustin's an incredible storyteller. So he's got realtor by day, photographer also by day. It's clever, it's funny, it gets your attention quickly, which is the goal. Come for the pics, stay for the stories. So he's telling us right in his bio, he's a storyteller, which, as we all know, storytelling is incredibly powerful when it comes to marketing. Nobody likes a hard sell these days, right? So this concept of push marketing, like sending lots of mailers and banging on people's doors and calling them, that's push marketing. And so what I want to do, and what I try to teach my clients to do, is pull. We're going to put out good stuff and kind of let them come to us. He's got a hashtag in his bio, which it's in relation to his business and what he's trying to do, but I like having a hashtag in my bio. I don't have a problem with that. It's a good little way to drive some more engagement to your profile. Where's my clicker? Okay, and these are just a couple of grid examples. So again, think of your grid as a brochure for your business. Something that Liz and I have talked a lot about is, and I know Silver Creek is pushing this, is leading with lifestyle. And I think that is absolutely the best way to go. So I spend a significant amount of time on Instagram looking at agent profiles, both on my own account and for some others that I manage. So I see a lot of the same accounts. I see maybe 100 to 500 followers and people that are posting a lot of graphics. A lot of teams here have graphic designers on staff, which is great, but we want to create graphics that are optimized for the platform and not optimized for print. Because I see that a lot. I see a really busy graphic, it doesn't perform very well on the platform. So just a couple things I want to point out. So this is Stevie, she's a friend of mine. She's an incredible agent in Florida. She's a huge social media following. So I kind of just want to point out, so she's out on the scene. She is working in that she's selling houses, right? She's got a sold one here, but it's not all that you see. She also has a couple examples of here on video. She has a lot more, which, you know, I know agents, we don't want to hear it, right? But video is really powerful, even if it's just like, as I mentioned with your bio, like you talking to the camera. That's something that as we're scrolling, I'm gonna stop and look, because it's endearing, it draws people in, and video is such a powerful way to convey who you are to the world. So I do recommend like practice, like get on there a little bit, start with stories. You don't have to go live right out away, but just get comfortable on camera. It's really gonna help you in the long run. She also does a lot of in-person events, which I think is incredibly powerful for real estate agents. Social media presence and in-person events have been the two main pillars of my business right from the start. So it's kind of a combination of like, I'm here digitally, I'm present, but I'm out in my community. It's kind of a twofold, because then again, you can share that. You'll meet other people that are doing the same type of things as you, and they'll all be sharing that on their profiles as well. So then this is actually a shot from mine. So as an agent, right, we're all trying to sell Idaho. We learned that pretty early. We're not selling houses, we're selling lifestyles, and I think that's absolutely true. It's not, people don't move to Idaho, they don't move to Boise for the house. They move for the lifestyle. They want their family here. They want the dream, my own private Idaho, right? And how easy is that to sell? I mean, it's such a beautiful place. Like I say that all the time, I sell Boise for a living, but it's pretty easy. We're really lucky. So kind of the same concept. I do have houses in here, and I'm making sure to work that in, but I'm not leading with that. Here I am in McCall, I'm doing mushrooms, I'm up in Stanley, like I'm out doing these things and sharing them. Morels.
Yeah. What are you doing, Tony?
I'm doing mushrooms, okay? I'm doing shooting,
This went a different direction.
right? I mean, whatever you're into, like, get yourself out there.
See the colors.
Yeah, see the colors.
Hey, you're Idaho.
My own private Idaho, okay? All right, moving on. Okay, so digital marketing, this is something that I see a lot with my clients and with my own self. We want to find this balance between quality and quantity. Digital media is a quantity business, so, and that's something that I personally struggle with all the time. Like, you know, especially on Instagram, right, we have this perfection paralysis. We're like, it doesn't look right, And it doesn't, but we can't let that bog us down because consistency is incredibly important, especially for quick organic growth. So creating content about things that you're informed about and that you like will increase your consistency. And that's probably one of the biggest tips that I can give you guys in my short allotted time. I encourage you guys to spend some time thinking about what you want to talk about, what you want to say, and I tell people this all the time, I swear it does not matter. Like, I follow a guy, one of my favorite accounts. He creates and sells eco-friendly, sustainable cat furniture. And I love it. It's like, I'm not his target audience, but he's so passionate about cats and their furniture and the environment. I love it. It's one of my favorites. Like, he's so passionate and so genuine. That's my point. It's like, you may not care about that, but you will after you start fun. I promise you guys, you'll become cat people. It's so good. He did a 3-part series of posts, which I definitely recommend you guys look into. Dustin, he does a few series posts where he'll kind of have like 3 posts in his grid. They're in 3s, right? And he'll plan it out so it's like part 1, part 2. Anyway, the cat guy, he chronicled this journey of this sick cat that he was trying to save, and by the end, I was crying reading his post. The cat finally cacked, and I was so emotionally distraught about it. I was crying, and he was like, I tried so hard to save her, and I was like, oh my God. It was amazing, and his engagement on that series was through the roof. So as a marketer, that got my attention. I was like, that is incredible. Like, he got a ton of new followers. Everybody was commenting on what a good cat dad he was. Anyway, I'll move on, but the point is, like, figure out what speaks to you and what you can talk about. And the more, if you're wanting to talk about real estate, educate yourself, niche down. I see this a lot. Agents in particular seem very fearful of like, well, I don't want to post about a certain type of thing because then if that's not your thing, and I'm like, but then if you're speaking, you're not talking to anybody, right? If you're not talking to someone specific, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get people to resonate with what you're trying to talk about. So from an agent standpoint, I only advertise on my Instagram page homes in the North End, maybe the Bench, anywhere close to downtown because that's my niche. Those are the types of homes that I want to sell. Those are the types of clients I want to work with. Those are the areas that I know the best. So it's easy for me to get on camera quickly and start talking about these types of homes because that's my area of expertise. So whatever that is for you guys, I encourage you to get practice at it. And the more you know, the easier you can talk about it freely. The goal is not necessarily to be better, but to be different. We're all good agents. There's a ton of incredible agents in this valley. I'm not focused on pushing my stats and being the best. I want to stand out. I want to be different. So ways you can differentiate yourself, thinking about that as yourself, as an individual. This is just a quick boundary thing that Lizzie and I have discussed before. So a lot of us have professional accounts that maybe are also our personal account, which I'm totally fine with, but my rule for myself that I do not always follow, what I really try is to create before you consume. If you're the type of person that opens up any social media app, it's very easy to get sucked in, mindlessly scroll, now you're down the rabbit hole looking at whatever, and 3 hours have gone by. I'm totally a victim of that as well. So create before you consume. If you're getting on the platform and consuming content and you haven't posted anything that day, I want that to be your little red flag to move forward. I keep saying this now. Okay. So just a couple quick hot tips. I do get a lot of questions about tools and third-party apps. If you're just getting started and you're in growth phase, I don't want you to worry about that, but the one non-negotiable that I have is getting a feed planner. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot that are free. You do not need a lot of robust features, but I really, really want you to be able to see what your grid looks like before you start posting. It was a game changer for me. Anyone that I consult with, if you're gonna get one app that's not, that's a third party, just get a feed planner so that you can look at things before you make them live. Photo editing apps. Instagram actually has a pretty robust photo editing app right within it. You don't need to use a third party. If you're more advanced and you like design and you're into that, there's a lot out there, but even in Instagram, if you just brighten things up, and sharpen them and hit post, you're still doing more than half the agents that are posting in this valley. I promise you, I've seen it. If you want engagement, be engaging. So, you know, how do I get more engagement? That's what we all want. You've got to give it before you get it. It's just like anything else. So strategically going out there, sharing some likes on people that you follow, throw some comments out there, watch people's stories. You can move through them quickly, but you're still gonna pop up and they're gonna see that you saw it. It's a fast, easy way to do engagement, but yeah, if you wanna give it, don't post and ghost. Try to respond to every single comment that you get. And my thing with this is if someone in a coffee shop walked up to you and said, "Oh, Liz, I love your glasses," or "Your shirt is really cute," would you just turn around and walk away and say nothing? No, that would be really rude, right? So if someone takes the time to comment on your post, like, "Oh, that's funny," or "I love that house," or whatever it is, take the time, to respond to that comment for two reasons. One, it's polite, and two, the Instagram algorithm doesn't know if the comment comes from another user or you. So if I have 5 comments and I respond to every comment, now I have 10 comments, the algorithm is happy, I'm higher up in the feed. Shares and saves are the new likes and comments. Keep this in mind when you're deciding what to post. So algorithm's always changing. Shares and saves, so just keeping that in mind as you're choosing what to say. If it's something that someone might share or send to a friend, something of value, something that's funny. Memes are great. If you're ever in a jam on what to post, throw a meme in there. Those always get good engagement. And my last thing on here is collaborate. A rising tide carries all ships. In any industry, it's always really saturated, right? In real estate, it's no different. There's a lot of us out there. This is just something to keep in mind for perspective. Your ideal client, whoever's following you, you're not the only agent that they're following a lot of the time, and that's okay. Like, anytime that you're getting an opportunity to get in front of someone else's audience, it's always going to get new eyes on your name and your account, even if they're in similar industries. There's a few people in town that are do really similar real estate to myself, and also similar social media, and we share each other all the time. And we both grow from it, and we both benefit from it. So don't be afraid to collaborate and share. You have severe ADHD, I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, that's it for me. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful.
Thank you so much, Toby. That was very helpful. Lots and lots of good information there. Up next, we have David McKenzie. David McKenzie III is an entrepreneur, an event host, and a communication broadcast professional. He has created, partnered, and mentored in successful startups in the fields of business and fashion. He's hosted events all over the country, like the Miss Idaho pageant, the Missouri Governor's Ball, corporate and charitable events, and more. He's marketed events for Bob Kittle, who tours with Tony Robbins, and he was the casting recruiter for CBS Big Brother Season 20 for the Boise market. He is the on-field host for Boise State football and the Idaho Horsemen Arena football team. He's worked with KTIK, The Ticket, and was a guest co-host and color commentator with ESPN Radio in Boise. He's a former Boise State football player who has the drive and work ethic to accomplish anything he sets out to do, and he believes that the best way to lead is to serve. Please welcome David McKenzie.
Okay. So we can play this video up here. I want to get the energy going a little bit.
Yeah, click it down.
Oh, down? Okay. So, this is from a on-the-field Boise State games. I'm a huge classic rock guy. So, you got any Bon Jovi fans in here? Okay, cool, good. So, to tell a little bit about myself, my name's David McKenzie. Have my own business, host, MC, speaker, or AKA the Black Ryan Seacrest, or as Shane says, the voice of Boise. This is American Idol. No, it's not. So I think give it up one more time for Toby and Shane. So I think what they hit on was really good on how Instagram can be effective, how social media can help you, and the statistics on that. But I kind of want to touch on today on overcoming the fear to take the step and actually do it, and to be yourself while you're on it, right? So to tell a little bit of a story about myself, a little bit, so I grew up in Dallas, Texas at a young age. When I was 5, 6 years old, I was in the field of entertainment and modeling. So as a kid, I was in Barney. As a kid, I was in commercials as a kid. That was, at the beginning of my life, I kind of knew that was my calling, of entertaining and being fun in media and emceeing, stuff like that. But as I got older into middle school and through high school, I got more serious into sports, and God blessed me with the opportunity to play football at Boise State. So while I was there, was on some good teams, met some really cool people. I was a preferred walk-on there, so it taught me how to serve the league first, was on some good teams. Some of the trips I didn't make, but I learned a lot. But when I was at Boise State, my goal was not really to go to the NFL. I always had that inner thing in me of, I want to get back to what I did when I was a kid, which is help and create and motivate and speak and bring fun and energy. So when I came out of football, I started doing a lot of sportscasting and broadcasting and radio stuff, and it was all in the sports-oriented lane. And I was doing that, and I was like, after I did that for a couple months, I met some cool people, my network was good, but I was like, I want to do more than that. You know, I want to host multiple events. I want to create my brand. So I stepped out. I started hosting Miss Idaho. I started doing galas. I started doing the Missouri Governor's Ball, stuff out in the National Prayer Breakfast. And through that, I'm like, yeah, this feels more like me. This feels like what God's calling me to do. And then while I'm doing this and I'm expanding my network, I had a couple of my close friends say, why are you not on social media? And I'm like Shane said, I said, honestly, I'm not a fan. I go, I do not want to be the guy on my phone, like, hey, everybody, look at it, swipe up, 20% off, and which is literally like what I do now. It's crazy, dichotomy. So I was like, I don't want to be that guy. I was like, it's not me. I think it's a little extra. What I'm doing is fine. But the main thing I said, which is what I want to hit on today, was I was saying, what are people going to think of me? What are my friends going to think? What are my parents going to think? What are my close, friends going to talk about me when I'm not there? Are they going to talk about me? And that's what I really want to touch on today. And I said, what I finally did was I said, you know what? Who cares what people think? I am who I am. I am who I am called to be. I'm going to step out and do what I feel I've been called to do, right? So I stepped down in social media, started promoting my things, doing these different videos, and within 2 months, I would do these funny lip sync videos. One of those videos went viral and got on Good Morning America and played in front of the Backstreet Boys. Then I started doing these other videos and the clips of me hosting MC, and then CBS hits me up saying, hey, can you do this for Big Brother and bring your energy and fun? And what hit me in that moment was the thing that I was scared of showing, the talent that I have been given, that was inside of me, the thing that was holding me back, that fear of worried about what people were going to say about me. When I finally submitted myself, these opportunities and these relationships I created changed the trajectory of my career, right? So I'm like, that's what I want to hit on today is, I think Instagram is effective, I think social media is effective, but before you step into that, you have to be yourself and not care, which brings me to my second point, is we need to check our pride daily. I had a pastor mentor friend tell me about this. He said there's two ends of pride. There's the one end of pride that says, hey, I'm overconfident, I'm arrogant, I'm cocky. Yes, that is pride. But the other end of it is being timid, being shy, being hesitant, and worrying about what others are going to think of you, right? So in that aspect for us, we need to know that we can't care. We don't have to care what people say about us, right? A lot of times, the things that's holding us back, or us being shy, or us being hesitant, or us worrying about people think, is the main thing behind that are blessings, or opportunities, or relationships that will change our life, our career, right? So check our pride daily. And everybody I talk to when I do one-on-one social media coaching or Instagram thing, the one main thing they always worry about is, what are people going to say about me? What are people going to think about what I'm posting? Right? And that's a key factor in every asset of career, is your pride. Am I being too timid? Am I being too shy to show who I really am? This is who I'm called to be. This is what I'm supposed to do, right? So a couple of testimonies I've had when I've done one-on-one Instagram coaching, there was one girl, for example, she was like, I really want to be a spokesman. for local coffee shops. She was like, I love coffee shops. I love, the vibe here in Boise. I think Boise has a cool environment. And I said, okay, well, let me see your page. Looked at her page, I go, well, what you want to do, what you feel who you are, that doesn't resemble or correlate with your page at all, right? So I go, why are you not promoting that now? Where's her answer? Well, I don't know what my boyfriend's gonna think. I don't know what my parents are gonna say. I don't know what my friends are gonna think about me showing that. I said, you gotta get over that. I go, your gut is telling you to do this, and you're worried about what other people are gonna say before you step out into what you're really supposed to do. So she got over that. She started going to different coffee shops. I go to Cafe d'Arte. Go there, hold up your coffee and say, I love Boise. It's a warm and cozy shop. Can't wait to be here next Tuesday, right? So she started doing stuff like that. 3 weeks later, she calls me laughing, happy, crying, going, D-Mac, I did this thing on Instagram. I started doing this, and now 3 coffee shops have reached out to me. They want to collaborate with me. Now, this other coffee shop says, can I help collaborate with them for their upcoming event? And I said, this is another example where if she would have stayed where she's at and said, well, even though I feel I can collaborate with cool coffee brands, I don't know what people are going to say about me. Well, she would have been in the same spot. But she overcame that, said, who cares? I know what I'm called to do. I know what's inside of me. I know what I'm going to achieve in my life. And she showed what she has this unique ability to do. She stepped out in that, got some partnerships out of it. Now, she's killing it right now. Another example, I have a guy, he's a sophomore at Boise State. His name's Chandler. I mentor him, he's a dope dude. He does all the media stuff for Boise State sports. So for Boise State basketball games, he's over the student section. So whenever the student section's getting hyped up, he's the kid that's running it all. So he came to me last year and said, I want to grow my brand. I want to have my brand. I want to have my page, like yours. I want people to hit me up for photography and stuff like that. I said, okay, that's cool. I looked at his Instagram profile and it was a picture of a truck. I said, hey man, I get you're good at what you do, but I go, what's on your page and what you want to do in here is not correlated. It's not matching. People don't see it. People don't know it. People don't know who you are. People are not relating with that. But what does he tell me in response to that? But, are people really going to think that I'm good at that? Or, my friends, they know I can do photography, but I don't think they're going to. I go, dude, get over that. You have a gift to take pictures. You have a gift to interact. You have a gift to bring energy to people. Put that on your page. Show that. You're different. You're unique. So he does that. Now, a year later, this guy's all over Boise State. Some of my friends who are in entrepreneurship and real estate, they're hitting him up through Boucher Real Estate. He does stuff, different photo shoots. He does content for me. I can't even get in touch with him. I call him, I go, can you do content? I gotta check my schedule. I'm like, wow. Yeah, mentor Scorsese here, But it was through him saying, I don't care. I am who I am. This is who I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm called to do. This is my gift. I don't care what people say. I'm unique in this. And if I step into this, if they don't agree with that, that's fine with them. But the people who do will relate with that, and it will change my life. I will have relationships that will change my life. Which gets to my next point is, there's 6,000, I believe there's 6,000 different realtors in the Treasure Valley, something like that. How are you going to be different? Right? How in the world are you going to separate yourself through everybody else? And I know the answer. Everybody in here has something different, unique, a gift, a talent that nobody else has, that nobody else can do, that nobody else can promote, that nobody else can fathom. But a lot of us have not stepped into that through with our brand to showcase that. Nobody has. And I guarantee you, if you do, when you finally take that step out and say, you know what, I'm a really, really good reader. I love books. You know what, I'm an awesome blogger. You know what, I love to hike. I love to bike. I'm going to showcase that. After I show my listing here, hey everybody, check out this book I just read. I love books, and you know what, check this book update on my blog post. Then you get some comments. Oh my gosh, I love that book too. Can you make this coffee shop? Because we do have a book club here. Now you have a whole new lane of relationships. And I'm not talking anything here to gain business or to, you do post your listings, yeah, you do try to get clients. But the main thing about this business is relationships. I'm a huge person on relationships and fellowship and brotherhood and sisterhood and serving to lead. And people who are your brothers in Christ, where you could say, hey, look, not only am I doing business with you, but I can talk about my life with you. I can talk about my passions with you. I can talk about my goals and my gifts with you, and you can understand that. But nobody will understand that if you don't step out into that. If you don't step fully and say, I don't care what people think, I have a gift in speaking, I'm going to put that out there. Because I feel that can create more relationships that I have, and it can galvanize a group of people that can change my network of group, my relationships of groups. Coach Pete used to always tell us this. He used to always say, mic drop. Mic drop. What was I saying, Coach Pete? Okay. So Coach Pete used to tell us all the time, everybody is different and unique and can bring something different to the table, right? But he goes, not many people who are unique and different actually bring it to the table. Now let that sit in, because that hit me, and it still hits me today. But the certain people who are unique and different, who actually bring that gift to the table and say, I don't care what people say. I don't care what it is. This is who I am, man. This is what I do. This is what God has called me to do. This is what has been in me since a kid. And you know what? I like creating relationships. You know what? I'm going to show that. I'm going to put that out there. I don't care what people say. But and every person who has done that has walked into something. And the relationships that they create and the doors that open are something that they can never fathom. Right? That's why you always have new business ideas. There's always cool movies. There's always a different, innovative product. Why? Because everybody has something different, unique, right? And the one person who decides, you know what, that feels good in here. I've always thought about that. I've always knew I was good at that. I've always felt that I can manifest that. I'm going to try it. And they do it, and sometimes things happen quicker than they think. Man, 1 month, like that one girl, 3 weeks later, she got 4 coffee shops hitting her up. The other guy I talked to, a year later, I can't book the guy. 20 years old, he's everywhere. I gotta check my schedule, you know? And I'm like, and even for me, for example, I did not want to get on social media. This wasn't me. Then I get on and I'm like, all these opportunities are coming at me. And with social media, you have to learn to have a brand, to grow a brand. Myself, Toby, Shane, we're all different, right? We're all unique in our own areas. But that's why our platforms have grown like that, because, hey, I like media, fun, energy, do impersonations. It's all fun. That's the way I like it. Shane likes to travel. Toby does it all. Speaks, real estate agent, Instagram influencer, whole thing. But we're all different. And that unique ability is brought to the table. Which brings me to my last point is, are you operating, I love this thing, are you operating in the shallows or in the deep? Am I in the shallow water where, hey, this is cool, I post my listing on Facebook every now and then, I really don't know what people think about me, but you know what, business is still good, it's kind of fun, this is cool, I'm comfortable here. This is where I'm at. This is where I've always been, this is cool. Or are you going to operate in the deep to where, you know what, I don't care what people say. I'm stepping out, I have a gift in this. I've been called to a specific area. I know this has been in me my whole life. You know, I'm going to make this my brand. And it's not me being arrogant, it's just me being me. That's not being arrogant. That's not greed, that's growth. That's growth. I'm going to step out and know what's inside me to do that. And typically, the people who step out into the deep, a lot of people who step out into the deep for their brand, for their platform, typically, miraculous things happen because they took a chance. They put themselves out there. And we'll get into the questions you guys might have regarding, analytics of Instagram and posts per day and starting small with your posts. Hey, I'll answer those questions to you all day, right? And please ask when we do our panel. But I want to convey kind of what I felt and what I've seen with people around me, to where it's like, hey man, if you guys really want to build your brand and build your business, and I'm not even going to say business, and that's material things. I'm talking about if you really want to grow relationships and lifelong relationships that you want to last, you got to be you. You know, my mom herself, for example, is a tremendous singer and a tremendous speaker. She has her own nonprofit as well for single mothers, right? But she has had times where me and my dad have been like, you're a phenomenal singer, put yourself out there. But she always says, I don't know. About a month or so ago, she's like, I'm finally just gonna sing. I'll put it out there. I'm not as good as these people. That's what she kept saying, I'm not as good. She sang, song got on the radio, whatever. It was hundreds of people calling in. Who's singing that? Who is that? Whose voice is that? Who is this person singing? There's an anointing on this voice. Who is that girl? And it's that thing holding her back that if she would have the fact that she stepped down and said, I don't care if I don't think I'm better than anybody else. I'm gonna be me, I'm gonna build my brand. And she did that, and the phone was ringing off the hook. So before and I'm gonna close after that, but I'm gonna relay the 5 points I said today, but number one, when it comes to your brand on social media, Instagram, and growing your presence, number one, every day, overcome your fear. This is a good thing to write down. Overcome your fear. Number two, who cares what people think? Who cares? Number three, be you. All caps. Be you. Everybody in here is unique and different, but don't be the person that doesn't bring it to the table. You bring it to the table. Number four, check your pride daily. Every day, check self. When you wake up in the morning, that's what I always do. Am I being hesitant today? Am I being too shy today? Am I being too timid today? Am I worried about what people think today? Check self every day. And when you do that, okay, now I'm ridding myself of that. I'm ridding myself of overconfidence. I'm ridding myself of worrying about people think. I'm walking where I'm called to do. I'm following here. And finally, number five, are you operating in the shallows or in the deep? Are you operating in the shallows or in the deep? You do that every single day, especially in the shallows or deep. Every single day, if I'm saying, hey, look, am I in the shallows? Am I going with the status quo? Am I doing like what every other 6,000 realtors are doing? Or am I being David? Or am I being Toby? Or am I being Shane? So that's all I got. Thank you guys so much. I'll give the last slide, but that's the Missouri governor.
Just looking good.
That is, okay. Oh, there's a bit, okay. All right.
Thank you so much, David. Give it up for our panelists. Fantastic content there. So if you haven't written your questions yet, grab one of the pads, they're running around. We have a few up here if you want me to toss them back to you. But let's get some questions. Kelsey has a bowl. Very cool. All right, I do have a question to kick us off. So, we've been hearing in podcasts recently, we're just going to jump right into these questions, all right? We've been hearing, in media, in marketing, in podcasts, that's kind of my realm of focus when I'm listening to things. The transformation in the last year and the year to come of Instagram and Facebook, and since Facebook purchased Instagram, things have been really rapidly changing. Can any of you think of some of the major changes that have benefited you, or maybe set you back? Pros and cons of some of these changes. What are they? What's the direction? Toby, I heard you talking about Facebook, like Instagram had purchased Facebook. Or
Going backwards.
Yeah. Facebook's buying it up. So I think my spin on that is that Facebook did purchase Instagram, I don't know, in the last year or something to that effect, maybe 2 years. But all of the original creators of Instagram are no longer part of the platform. Facebook has taken over and they're calling the shots. And there's good things and bad things about that to me. I think organic, quick engagement is down. I don't think it's as fast and furious as it was when I first got started. It was just, there wasn't much of any algorithm, so, but I think the benefit of it is it's calling all of us forward to create better content. I mean, we have to just think a little bit harder and put out stuff that's mindful and thoughtful, but the good thing about that is, yeah, it gives you even more opportunity to stand out because so few, particularly real estate agents, so few agents are maximizing their efficacy on this platform, and it's incredibly, incredibly powerful. I think in my first year, when I really started pushing on Instagram, it was about 30% of my business came directly from the platform for free. I still don't run ads on it, and then in the second year, it was about 50%. That's a lot. Like, imagine what an additional 30% of transaction close would do to your business. But, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think, yeah, the issues is also the opportunity. When we are building out our Instagram following at AM Smart, like I said, we started with Alan and I having a board meeting in El Salvador, and we didn't want to post to, I think about 1.5 million followers across our company. And at the time, we could go after it. Now the algorithm, because everybody had success and started making money doing it, now it's a little tougher, right? But at the same time, it's as simple as Googling it. When I consult, a lot of times the easy formula is this: Google it, read a book, talk to someone who knows. Now all the information's out there. You just got to kind of look at it, right? I mean, I'd highly recommend DMing and following DMAC and just say, hey, what are those 5 things you talked about? So when it comes to Instagram and social media and Facebook, the answers are out there. You just have to just seek it. That's the good part.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna share a mic with you. I swear we did a mic check, you guys, we really did. Going along that question, will the popularity of the platform on social media shift soon, and where? If it does, do you think it's going anywhere?
No.
Yeah. I think with that, yeah, I agree. It's not.
It's not going anywhere. It may change and evolve, but the concept of social media, yeah, there may be different platforms, but conceptually it's not going anywhere. And I certainly don't think Instagram is going anywhere. And I think the reason for that, it's kind of a combination of all of the best elements of each platform.
And Instagram being owned now by Facebook, Facebook's going to be around for a long time. Instagram as well too. There are some other applications, but they're not going anywhere.
Well, and if you're going to spend time worrying about when something's gone, everything changes. Half the planet does it. My mom, she has 1 follower, it's me. She's like, where you at? I'm like, Mom, here's your Instagram account.
I love it. Okay, Instagram TV. Let's talk Instagram TV. How does it compare versus YouTube? And should we video on YouTube and upload it to Instagram TV? How do you guys work that to get longer content on Instagram?
The IGTV, that's basically if you are posting if it's a content video or it's something that's really valuable to you that is maybe longer than a minute and a half or 2 minutes, and you really want people to see it, for example, KTVB did a story on me a couple weeks ago. I can only post a minute of that on my Instagram, but the whole interview was 4 minutes, right? So I posted that to Instagram, and it gives you the option to say, hey, this video is longer than 1 minute. Would you like to shape this up, or would you like to post to your IGTV? You can say post to IGTV. People can watch the whole video on your page, and then when that 1 minute ends, it'll give an option to say, hey, keep watching, and you can go to that.
I'm a huge advocate of repurposing your content. If you make a video, post it anywhere and everywhere that you can. Maybe take a couple tidbits of whatever it was that you were talking about. Hop on Canva. I am a huge fan of Canva. I'm sure most of you may be familiar. It's a free graphic design website. Take a tidbit of that, make a quote, throw it in your feed, maybe share it into your story. Always be looking through that lens of how can I repurpose this content.
Lovely. I have a handful of questions that revolve around this single question. Should your personal and business be separate accounts? If the same, how much should be personal content versus how much should be business content, or should we combine? There's actually a question here that says that they have multiple accounts, a few business accounts and then one personal. Should they be combining or should they be niching out in each one?
Me personally, I think it should be a combination of both, okay? Now, that can be, you can disagree and that's fine. You can do separate totally, but me personally, I think it's something great and unique and innate if you are a real estate agent and you are posting your listings, but you also are showing who Jim is, who Susan is within that page. You know what I mean? So me personally, I think on that page where one picture could be your listing, this is my vision, and other pictures can be, oh, he's backstage at a Journey concert because he's an avid classic rock listener. You know what I mean? To me, I think that kind of correlates, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think it goes back to like, you need to define what your personal vision is for it, right? Because I have some friends that kill it and they have personal. Some kill it and just have business. You know, it's not what you do, it's why you do it. Yeah, I mean, that's really all it is. If you're selling a house, or I have a smart home, Joey Howley is one of the top guys in America. He kills it. His Instagram, he shows his kids. That's it, that's why he does it. He does not want to go to El Salvador with me. It's like getting him on a surfboard. But spend time and define that. We know guys that have personal and girls in business, and then we have some that combine. We personally combine. And if you spend that extra time, you're not going to get a lot of anxiety and stress out of it going down the wrong path. Because that's the thing you want to avoid, in my opinion, is anxiety and stress from worry and yeah, who cares, go after, but spend a little time to think about that because it comes down to your personal vision.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So for Instagram specifically, I want everybody in here, if you do not have yourself set up as either a business account or a creator account, I want you to do that before you leave. And the reason for that, as far as front end, what you're posting, I don't care. What I want you to have access to is your analytics. And you will not have access to those if you're not at least structurally set up as a business or creator account. Because you want that data. If you're, unless it's truly personal account and you don't care if that's really what it is, then I guess you don't need it. But if it's anything related to growth or business, I want you to have that data. And my thing with multiple accounts, I don't have a problem if you have multiple accounts, but you definitely kind of like what Shane said, like have a plan, have a goal. The more accounts you have, that's the more accounts you have to manage. So maybe you have an account that is specifically dated to one subject or personal, and then as the agent, it's just me. I have my one account, and it's structured as a business account, but it's mostly me. So I don't have like a hard and fast rule. If you have listings or homes that you're showing that you're trying to promote for whatever reason, don't worry about necessarily over posting those, but I think generally maybe an 80-20 rule, like 80% yourself and then kind of mindfully reminding your audience that you are an agent and that you do sell real estate. But have as many accounts as you want. It can it's definitely be powerful. The more accounts you have access to, the more you can reach different audiences and different eyes. But if you're going to make it work, just make sure you have a plan and are able to put the time in.
And I want to contradict myself on one thing. Just do something. I mean, so World's My Office, all it was that freaking millennial kid's like showing me a picture. And I'm like, all right, I guess I better have an Instagram. So I got all my key managers and leaders at the time. I got everybody together. I got them on this little houseboat. And I'm like, guess what we're doing? Instagram. And they go, what do you mean? Because I had a thing in my region. I'm like, I don't want my sales reps on Instagram. I want them selling, right? So we'll fluctuate between 50 and 150 employees. And I'm like, get out there, it's a distraction. And all of a sudden I trap them on a boat and I go, hey, we're doing Instagram. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, that's changed. And World's My Office is because I brought a guy in, my buddy, and he goes, you guys gotta make something up. So I just made it up. Guys, just do it. Who cares? Like, go back to what D-Max says. If you don't take action, you're never going to learn. So just accept that for the first 6 months or a year, you're going to get everything wrong. like mine's a train wreck. And people make fun of me, like, you don't know what you're doing. I'm like, of course I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done it before.
As long as it's you.
Yeah, who cares? And if you get past that social anxiety, it's taken me around the world. It's connected up. Guys, it takes me to like some really cool places. So before you overthink it, just go after it a little bit. You know what I mean? That's my recommendation.
Love it. Okay, so Instagram to Facebook. Are we posting our Instagram posts up to Facebook? How often? Do we do it every time? Are you guys interested in Facebook?
I have started within the last 6 to 8 months of posting to all my platforms I have. So I'm on Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram. So I typically, especially in the lane of real estate as well too, I mean, I like touching all audiences. So some people I post on Instagram might not see it, but people on Facebook might. So I typically, most of the time, when I post on Instagram, I'm also transferring that to Facebook too, so that crowd can convey with what I'm doing.
Yes. Also, I think I've talked to some of the top realtors in Idaho, and from my understanding,
Not you holding a mic.
Yep, Toby's fault.
I think that yours is dying actually.
Yep, it's dead. So, from my understanding in Idaho, from my understanding, Facebook is the most powerful platform in Idaho.
Is there?
Yep, because of age demographics and who's buying houses.
Yeah.
You know, but just do both. They're connected.
Myself personally, I'm not on Facebook because I just wasn't seeing it convert. And when I so quickly saw Instagram converting like that, I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do all of this. But yes, I do think if you have a presence on multiple platforms, like I said, repurpose the content, post it anywhere and everywhere you can, because you never know who's paying attention on whatever platform that might be.
Awesome. Do you have more questions back there? Does anybody have questions from the crowd? I see people writing things down. Yeah.
Does that affect analytics by sharing it from one platform to another? So I know when you share somebody else's post or something, well, I'm not making that organic itself. Does that affect analytics?
All engagement is tracked. Instagram, Facebook, everything. Snowden had it right.
Can you repeat the question?
Oh. So the question was, does that affect analytics? Like, so guys, everything's being tracked. There's a digital footprint that everybody's incorporated with. I highly recommend before everybody leaves the room, everybody follow each other in the room. Just follow each other, because all the engagements and everything are being tracked. So the more engagement you have, they got to figure it out. You know, so everything is good. It's called social media for a reason, because they're tracking all that stuff.
And then, I mean, I think the main reason why I'm always trying to post things on Facebook is because the audience I have, it might be more of a younger crowd, but like, you know, for example, like my grandparents, for example, had no idea for a year what I was doing. Like, you know, like they were like, so what are you doing? Like, you got a job or? Yeah, like, are you like you're down at Boise State, right? I'm like, yeah, you know, like I'm speaking, like, you know, they had no idea. But then I started to post to Facebook, things like that, and then I started to open myself up to all my family members and people who are now on Instagram, and they started to see, oh man, I love that story they did. I love that event you're hosting. Oh, when are you doing Miss Idaho? Like, and they start to see it. So I just do it so I can kind of open up my eyes to that platform too. So I don't see anything wrong with analytics. I just do it just to keep the brand afloat.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. I have more questions.
Well, and on that note, guys, we overthink things all the time too.
Yeah.
My last trip, you know, it was in about 9 countries in about 14 weeks, and they're all for diverse reasons, from a coffee brand I'm helping build out, to a hunt with my father, to an orphanage in Cambodia, which DMAC and Liz helped with. And guys, I post on Instagram the whole way, but out of all those countries, I posted the thing about my father on Facebook, because sometimes I still get really uncomfortable on Facebook. I primarily do for my family and stuff. Like, that's my connection with my family. And I just, you know, it's like I don't really want to put all that stuff. Like, sometimes I get really uncomfortable with posting too much, right? So it's something that you constantly go through, but at the end of the day, sometimes you gotta kind of not care, right? So it's a fine balance that you need to pick for yourself. I feel on my particular Facebook page, I don't need some of my family members who are really rural farmers seeing me in all these different countries. I don't, that's, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really promote that.
And two, I mean, it's good having people like Shane, you know, having friends like Shane or Toby who are doing the same things I'm trying to do on social media. Because if you don't have anybody else around you that wants to kind of grow their brand too, it might be kind of like a lonely road, you know, where you're promoting your stuff and you might get people saying, oh, well, oh, so you think you're famous now, or oh, do you think it is? It's like, dude, like, no, I'm just doing what I'm called to do. Like, I'm just promoting my brand, man. I'm just trying to promote my business. Nobody's trying to be somebody I'm not, you know. So that's why I think it's huge having people like these guys and other people around me going, hey, you know, I try to do this with my brand. Hey, I'm going to do this event. Hey, we can promote it this way, and it encourages you to do it for yours.
Yeah, we get together all the time and just talk about what we don't know, and then pretend like we know stuff.
Right.
It's a great process.
Okay, is there a point where it's too far? How far is too far? Can we be mindful about how much of ourselves we're putting on social media? Oh, we have another question?
There is one right there.
Yeah.
I do have a question. So we're all super busy, right? Everybody is, and we're all good at one thing or another. So would you recommend, maybe this is a question for Liz, would you recommend that we, I'm sorry, did I say, is that right?
Toby.
Toby.
Either one.
Toby, can you tell me, would you recommend that we reach out to somebody to take care of our page for us? And if you do that, because I have done that, and what would you approximately think that there's a cost to that? I mean, I
Yeah.
know that there's a big range, but
Sure.
what's in your opinion?
Yeah, so yeah, that is an excellent question. There's a few different things that we can touch on with outsourcing your social media. Something that I just have observed, if you're going to outsource it, I want you to be really thoughtful with whether you're using a third-party company to do that, or you're using a person that knows you, that knows your vision, that's familiar with your work, and that you can train. My thing with using a third-party company to do that for you is it's not very engageable, right? If you're just reposting articles or, you know, stock photos, you can make a really pretty aesthetic, but it's going to be a lot harder to get the engagement that you're looking for. So if you're going to invest in outsourcing, that's sort of my caveat is keeping, like, I would recommend having a person or maybe a small team, maybe someone local, someone that's familiar with you and your vision that can effectively communicate it with your audience rather than just reposting blog articles from Realtor.com, because newsflash, no one cares, right? Like, I see that a lot, and like, no shade, agents don't even care about a lot of agent-related content. Like, you know, we get emails all the time, right, from NAR of like all this stuff. I hardly ever read them because, and I'm in the industry. So as an agent, just sort of keeping that in mind. People buy a house on average, like what, 6 to 7 times in their lifetime. So real estate is not top of mind for most people. Even, unless you're an investor that's like really, that's pretty niched out. So sort of, I hope that answers your question, but if you are gonna outsource it, take the time to really vet somebody and make sure that it's content that's going to be engageable.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea. Me and him have talked about as well too, of having people who can help with our social medias as well. I think it's a good thing to do. And if it's a thing where it's like, hey, I just want to have my page look nice and, like she said, post engageable content. Yeah, if you find a girl or guy who's really good at social media and you pay them, hey, they do this a couple times a week and they keep your aesthetic nice and up to date. Maybe they do a post once every 2 weeks or once every week. Yeah, like, I'm all for that. Me and him actually talked about that too.
Christian Snardo, who's a realtor at Silver Creek, sold me a duplex. And on my side, I'm like, I'm gonna paint my own walls and all this stuff, right? So I have a bucket of paint laying around for a couple months. And Christian's like, how much is your time worth? For you to ask that question, I think your time is really valuable. I personally have multiple social media platforms. I have one that I have interns run. I have assistants run some. I have some that I run myself. And you need to determine what it is per hour. If I was to pass something on that I'm a huge person of, is knowledge. I don't just give people money to do stuff. I do an exchange. So I'm really frustrating to work with at first. So I go, Christian, every time we do something, you're gonna have to explain everything.
right? If I work with my broker, my CPA, my realtor, I want to have the information. I don't want to pay someone to do something. I want to have the information. So what I recommend is if you do that, if your time per hour, right, is in a certain category, understand that. But then when they originally do it, understand what they're doing. Knowledge is power. I mean, at the end of the day, knowledge runs everything, and it's evolving very quickly, right? So that is my thing, is if I'm gonna pay someone to do something, I wanna know what they're doing, personally. And then, yeah, some of my stuff, I pay them to do it. It all depends on what platform you're speaking of.
I just hired an assistant to do the stuff too, so.
We talked about that, we talked about that last week. I was like, dude, hire an assistant.
We did.
Yeah. I do want to throw out there one other tool though. So for those of you that are maybe more, just getting started and maybe not to that point where you're ready to outsource it, have a content calendar. Like I mentioned earlier, have a feed planner, have a content calendar. So my process, I don't outsource my social media because I'm a control freak and I'm not ready for that. I really want to, and I'm like learning it too. Like the more I do it myself, the more I can learn and the more I can teach to others. But having a content calendar, so I sit down every Monday, sometimes on Sunday, but mostly Mondays because that's what I prefer, and I plan out everything that I'm going to post that week for my posts in my feed and mostly my stories. And then I supplement that throughout the week as things pop up if I'm at events or whatever. But that way I've got my bases covered, and that takes me maybe an hour or two just to plan it out in advance. Save yourself some time.
Do you have any suggestions for content calendars like that you use or recommend?
I don't know off the top of my head. So the ones that I use, Planoly, it's not free. It has more robust features, but I know there's a ton of free ones. Like if you just search in the App Store like content calendar, you'll find free resources for you that work. Start simple. You don't need to pay for it right out of the gate. But if you're to that point, I use Planoly. It has great analytics and the ability to plan everything out and write everything and make notes and have my hashtags all ready to go. So it's pretty robust. Ideally, if you're really trying to grow, every day. In a perfect world, you would have something every single day posted. Is that realistic? No, not for me. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but I want that to be the goal, to get something posted every day.
Yeah, my girlfriend, she has her brand's growing pretty well right now. She gets a lot of brands reaching out to her to do fashion stuff, and she typically tries to be on a time period of always have something on your stories, and then she does a post at least every Sunday. But like Toby said, if you're really trying to grow and stimulate, yeah, every day, every couple of days. But if you're just trying to just smooth engagement, I would say at least once a week, at least.
So minimum once a week, maximum once a day. Would you post more than once a day on your grid? No.
I wouldn't.
I would not.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm gonna dumb it down. And probably the most ignorant question to ask out here. But what is the difference between when you put it on the story or you just put it on
Good question.
whatever the feed is? Because I'll give it to my kids and say, hey, post this.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the story is for, the Insta story is for what you're doing throughout the day.
So like if I just have a picture and I
So why don't you
Yeah,
define
like
it?
so-
somewhere and I post it.
So
is
like
that my story?
Yeah.
Or is that because then you've got the whole video thing that goes through, but I'm not quite sure how to do on Instagram now.
Right, so for example, like with this event for us, like me and Shane did a story where we were in here, we did another story where we were getting mic'd up, I did a story of like the snacks back there, all those were cool video interactions, some boomerangs. But we took a picture all together up here. We all took a picture up here all together, snapshot with the presentation in the back. So when we get that picture, that might be a picture I would like to post Sunday, right? So it's like, hey, I did my stories leading up to the event, everybody's seeing that, it's throughout my everyday, it's what I'm doing. And then once I have that picture from that event, or maybe that oversees or summarizes what I did that week, that's on my Sunday picture. That's kind of how I do it. I like if I'm doing the Boise State football games and I'm hosting, I'm not gonna post on my page, hey, whatever like that. No, I'm gonna post a picture like I had up there. Oh, like this is me in action. It was a great game. Or, hey, this is a 10-second clip of me doing this thing, right? But everything else leading up to that, I'm just gonna be putting on my story,
So
And that's a 24-hour thing that will delete
Yeah.
automatically.
yeah.
So stories will be up there, a quick little video clip boomerang, 24 hours, it'll automatically go away. Well, you can now save it to But a feed is that grid that'll stay out there forever. Is it?
This is your feed, right? And these stay forever. And then up here, it doesn't actually look like this, but there is a circle photo where your profile photo is. If you click that on yourself or anyone else, that's your 24-hour story. So if I just have a quick thing that's maybe not as curated as everything else, I throw it in the story. And then if it's staying forever, if it's good content and permanent, it goes in the feed.
Stories show the person, posts tell the story. And if I can highly recommend something, I do this all the time. I grab really young college students and I sit there and I buy them lunch. I show them, teach me. Just sit down with your kids and have them just start posting stuff. Like, you get time with them, and they're gonna. I think people are so busy being smart and being socially aware that we pickle ourselves, right? Like, we need to be smarter than our nephews or our kids or whatever. Just be socially unaware. Be like, I don't know. Man, I'd rather be rich and wrong than poor and right. Everybody's so right. Everybody's so. Joey and I have a really great salesman, and he's always right. He gets his way. I said, okay, man, you get your way again. But you just told me you wanted to make more money. Like, be very quick to learn. Your kids know more than you. It's great. They're free.
Awesome. I have a question right here.
What can you tell us about hashtags
Ooh, this is good.
and its use? And what is just right and what is too much?
So the question for the audience was, let's talk hashtags. What's right, what's too much, what's not enough, how do we hone in on hashtags? Toby's very excited, this is her realm.
Mushrooms and hashtags.
Mushrooms and hashtags.
Yeah, I love that. I'm like, I just literally got up and
They were
said
morels in case.
that I did mushrooms in front of a room of people, one of whom is my broker. So don't worry about saying stupid things. It's just part of the process, and it'll be okay. So to answer your question about hashtags, so all of us in this room are agents, which means we are all geolocationally based businesses. So my goal for agents and for myself is to use a combination of geolocationally based hashtags. So this is Boise, Explore Idaho, things like that, right, that are very specifically located. So the benefit of those smaller hashtags, they're more targeted to your audience. The drawback is there's less traffic, there's less people using those hashtags. So I try to shoot for a combination of those and then maybe some bigger ones like hashtag new listing, hashtag home for sale. Those are huge hashtags, which is, it's a good and a bad thing. There's a lot of people using them, but if you are using those, your content is going to go to the bottom pretty quickly because there's so many posts going out with those big hashtags.
Explain what a hashtag is and does.
So a hashtag is essentially a digital filing system. So a hashtag is telling the digital world what your content is about. So it's a way for, it's a filing system. So that way if I click on a hashtag, whether that's via a story, via a post, or just straight up searching it in the search bar, I can search for, hashtag Idaho Lake, or hashtag shelter dog, or whatever it is, and any content with that hashtag is gonna show up. So it's really just a way to tell your audience what's in your piece of content. Another thing with hashtags, this is why I recommend spending some time, drawing out who your target audience is, and think about the hashtags that your target user is using. So any hashtag that's around real estate, buyers and sellers aren't using those. Other agents are using those, and that's a good thing, right? I want other agents on my page. I want lenders on my page. I want title reps on my page, right? Because it's all engagement. Just keeping that in mind. Use the hashtags that your ideal client is using. So for us, that might be Boise Foothills, or the Snake River, or Whitewater in Idaho, whatever it is that you are creating content about, but just keeping that in mind.
And, those hashtags will bring people from that audience who do those hashtags to your platform. Like, for example, this past weekend, Snake River Wine Tours sponsored me to go on a wine tour, free wine tour. So I had all these pictures, and on my post, I posted, me at Sawtooth Winery, and all of my hashtags were hashtag vino, hashtag wine, hashtag winery, all these things. And through my post, while people were liking my post, I had probably about 9 or 10 winery Instagram pages follow me. I had other people whose their profiles were, hey, I'm the wine person in New Zealand or whatever, started following or liking my pictures. Those hashtags opened me up to that realm of, I was like, why am I getting all these wine followers, you know, or these wine connoisseurs now? But it was because of those hashtags I put on that post.
So the next level question is there such a thing as a hashtag finder that also has statistics on who has the most activity?
Like the most popular hashtags.
The question was, is there a hashtag finder who can tell you statistics on the activity for the hashtags?
It shows you on there. You can see like how many follow that hashtag and how many posts and things.
Yeah, there's analytics right in the app. Like Shane just said, there are third-party apps that will generate hashtags for you and give you some data on those hashtags. I'm big on doing it yourself because I want to know more. So, like, I will take the time to. So if you click on a hashtag in the app in Instagram, it's going to pop up and show you similar hashtags. So that's kind of a process that I recommend when you're like looking for your own hashtags. That way, you know, you can click on them and see similar ones, and you can see like, oh, there's 1.2 million with this one, or there's only 900,000 with this one, or whatever it is. But yes, there are third-party apps for literally everything related to Instagram, and hashtags is one of those.
I did hashtags for 2 years and had no idea what they did. I'm not even kidding. Yeah, no, I had a social media guy. He says, do this, and I'm like, okay, you know more, so I do it. Like, I'm kind of a person that I'm not gonna sit around and question success, right? Like, I had some really good college coaches and high school coaches, and they told me to do something. I have to understand. The guy's a national champ, right? And so I was doing hashtags, and finally one day I'm like, what do these do? He's like, well, you put 9 in this and this, and I'm like, oh, that's why my following's growing. That's cool. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
I have 2 more questions really fast. A guy got texted, and then we have a couple questions in the back. This is from somebody watching online live right now. She says, I already have some branding, but I want to change. Should I? On both Instagram and Facebook.
Say that again?
She already has her aesthetic brand established. She wants to change. Is it a bad time to change, or is it a good time to change if that's what she wants to do? And how would you go about that change if you did?
Talking about through Instagram?
And Facebook.
And Facebook. I mean, it's your page, you know what I mean? So, I mean, if you want to change, I mean, I know a lot of my girlfriend, for example, and other fashion models and stuff too have a specific preset or specific aesthetic to all their pictures and theme and how it goes about. So if you do want to change it, hey, you could start evolving and maybe post one this Sunday, one the next Sunday, and they're both in that new aesthetic, and you can now just evolve yourself into that. So I don't think it's a big thing. For Facebook, I don't really see it's much thought for the aesthetic there. For Instagram, you might need to put more thought and strategize how you want to go about the post of changing your new aesthetic. Facebook, I mean, that's just scrolling up and down through your page. Instagram, when you go to that, like this right here, typically you see a model page and it's like a certain gray background color or whatever like that, so you might need to strategize a little bit more on how do I want to change this profile pic or how I want to change the color.
I think updating your branding is always a good idea, especially on Instagram, because you're keeping current with current design trends. I'm guessing that's why she's wanting to make a change, right? She's seeing something that she likes a little bit more and she wants to stay fresh and stay updated. But when you're doing that and you're updating, not even necessarily like your aesthetic, but like your bio, like Shane said, they're tracking everything that you're doing. So when you're making those changes and making those edits, maybe editing your highlight colors, changing those out, you're telling the algorithm that you're an active user, and the algorithm will always reward the active users. So if you're making changes and updates, that's a little like side benefit of that. Anytime, when I tell my clients, like, your page is a living, breathing, active thing. I don't want you to be stagnant. I want you to always be making little changes. Right, because it keeps you fresh and it keeps you current, and it also tells the algorithm you're an active user.
Tom Brady. I saw an interview with him, and he says the best part about a football game, whether you like someone or not, whether you like the team or not, there's a scoreboard. I highly recommend doing a self-audit with your social media One, it's super healthy. You know, DMAC and I the other day were looking at how much time, screen time, right? She should stop, take a moment, look back, is she getting the results she wants? Right?
Good point.
If she's getting the results she wants, then don't let society dictate your brand, right? Maybe you're just getting a little self-conscious about something. Are you not getting the results you want, right? Then ask yourself how much you're worth per hour, how much you invest in marketing, and just be honest with yourself. And then if you're having trouble being honest with yourself, which we all do, we all believe the lies we tell ourselves, right? Sit down with someone. DMAC and I sat down the other day and we asked ourselves, what do you think? Google, read a book, ask someone who knows. Do a good healthy self-audit. Don't post for a week and think. And then move forward in the best way.
Good answer. All right, we have a question from Tom. Yeah.
Yeah, if you do a post to your feed that turns out just to be a total dud, do you recommend, and you don't get the engagement you think you're going to get from that after a week or two, do you recommend deleting that from your feed? Does that improve the analytics, or is it better just to leave that dud on there with better performing posts surrounding it?
We might have some different opinions on this up here.
Yeah, I'm going to repeat the question so that we get it online. The question was, if you post a dud on your feed and it doesn't get the performance that you were expecting, maybe you're a little discouraged, do you delete the post or do you let it live?
Typically for me, if the post I post does resemble with my brand or what I did, and even though it doesn't get engagement, I'll keep it, right? But if it's a post that I put up there that I thought it was cool in the moment, but then I go back and look at my page, I do a self-audit and I go, that doesn't really correlate with what I really do. I'll either delete it, or there's an option where at the top right, you can click icon, you can archive it.
Yeah.
To where it's like, hey, I don't have to delete the post. I can just put it in my archives of pictures that I have just sitting there. And if I ever do want to bring it back to my page, Instagram can re-upload it. But for now, it doesn't fit with what I'm doing. I'm just going to archive it. So that'd be my advice.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But yeah, if it's just not performing that well, so not every post is going to be a slam dunk. It's just not. Not every single thing that you post is going to get max engagement. And as you start growing and as you start posting more consistently, you'll start getting a pretty good idea of which posts are going to resonate with your audience and which ones are maybe not going to get as much. But I try not to get too hung up on that. Like, I have a general idea when I post things. Sometimes I'm wrong. But just even if it's something that you don't think is going to be like super engaging, it's not a reason to not post. And getting in that like rabbit hole of like, I just don't know this will perform, what I see that doing is limiting your consistency. So, and we want consistency too.
This will very much apply to you guys. My understanding, real estate operates in kind of seasons. You know, there's some highs and lows, peaks and valleys, right? I range from 50 to 150 individuals in my smart home business, coast to coast, right? Depending on what time of the year, I want things to perform a certain way. So the top 20 posts, or 3, 6, 9, 15 posts on Instagram, it grabs that analytics and puts you in the algorithm, okay? I personally like to go back to vision. I'm not interested in someone liking me at the Coliseum. Like, I don't, the affirmation isn't what I'm really striving. What I want is to hire individuals to work with me, and then also I do consulting, and that's my brand. So sometimes I delete it. Sometimes I keep it because emotions. My buddy's like the number 7 boxer in the world. He spars with Floyd Mayweather, and he's a Canadian boxing champ, and I posted with him, and they got the worst likes I've had in forever. I still have it on there. Because I like him, he's cool. I'm trying to promote him, you know what I mean? So I didn't get the analytics for my brand, but I want to promote his brand. You know, I get to work out with him and stuff, and I'm pumped about him. You know, no likes at all. We made fun of it. He's like, no one cares about boxing in Idaho. I'm like, you know we don't. So it comes down to your personal vision, right? But analytically, in the algorithm, yes, the likes and stuff do calculate it.
Awesome. I have one quick question, and we probably have time for one more before we hit our 11 o'clock hour. There was another text from online. How many hashtags?
30 is the maximum. So 30 hashtags. I mean, I don't know. There's mixed opinions on hashtags in general, like, but I think if you're if you care about growing and generating traffic to your page, try to shoot for 30 if you can.
You all agree?
I do between, I just low end 15,
Yeah.
maybe high end 25, but I think, 30 is a maximum. I agree.
A couple months ago, I was with my social media guy, he said it's only picking up 9.
Is that new?
No, I think I think it's, so Instagram changes the algorithm so you can't gamify it, right?
Right.
The moment you start understanding it, so at one point it's 25 and it adjusts, you can even, if you want to get really down the rabbit hole, post at 5:55 p.m. with 9 hashtags, right? At that time, Instagram's going to pull the algorithm, well, now that I've given it away, they're going to change it up, right? And at that point, it starts seeking, right? And it's only grabbing the 9 hashtags. So there's a really, you can go down the rabbit hole a lot, right? But they're going to try to change it up.
Oh, and before we go to the last question, just real quick, I don't think we talked about this, but start picking a time when you do post when people are all on Instagram, right? A lot of people might, hey, I'm gonna do a picture, but you did it at like 10 a.m. on like a Tuesday, and there's not gonna be many people on there. Like me, my strategic posts when I post my pictures are every Sunday evening, like 7:30. I know people are gonna be at home, I know they're not doing anything, I know they're on their phones. That's where I get my most engagement. Unless it's a video, then I'm promoting something during the week. I'll do that in the afternoons, but typically, afternoon, night times for me is the best time to post because I know people are going to be on it. So just make sure and strategize when you want to post your post, because sometimes you post is like, hey, Wednesday at 1, man, everybody's at work. 15 people might see it. So maybe just think about that.
Well, the people are buying houses are at work.
Well, I'm just saying everybody has their own different timing. Mine's Sunday evening. Other people might be Thursday at lunch.
Do you have yours is a business account, right?
Mhm.
So guys, if you make it a business account, it'll give you all the analytics. It'll tell you when's the
When
best time
people
to
are
post,
online.
what time, it'll just
Pick your day.
say all that stuff.
Pick your day, pick your time.
Do we have any last questions? Go ahead.
You got 30 hashtags. They're pretty annoying to look at. How do you hide them?
So aesthetically, the hashtags are not very pretty to look at. He said, how do you hide them?
Put them in the comments is one way to do that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
good point.
Yeah, put them in the comments if you don't want them in your caption section.
But I'm gonna double check, I think only 9, so you might put 30. I think last I looked, only 9 are even grabbed. So what was happening is people were putting that on there when we were building out all our accounts, all these hashtags, right? So it was coming not aesthetically pleasing to Instagram.
Right.
And then people are like, now they're getting all the information out there. I'm gonna double check out, someone should double check, you probably Google it right now. I think it's only 9 of them actually calculated.
So pick the 9 best ones that you know.
Yeah, and you know what,
Keep
who
it in
cares what it
mind.
looks like?
Yeah.
We can get
I
one.
mean,
But I do care sometimes too though, right?
Okay, last question.
If you have a business account,
Mhm.
can people tell by looking at it that it's a business account?
The question is, if we have a business account, can people tell by looking at it if it is a business account?
They can, I believe, only because there's an option to contact there's an extra button that pops up, message this person, follow this person, contact, and then it'll pop up with either an email or a phone number. I think that's the only outward indicator that it is a business profile.
Yeah, there's for mine, there's like a contact button, and then it has like your business email. Yeah, so there is an option there for a business account, but typically the Instagram is going to be formed. If you do choose a business account, that's cool that you can put your contact there, but it's still going to be on your aesthetic, on your engagement, right? But your business account still will have your contact on there.
Yeah, and if you want people to see it, take it off private.
Yeah.
I have one of my employees, and he's up and coming. He's on pace to make $100,000 this year, and he's a really cool story. And he's hustling, he's going. And the other day, I'm like, hey, no one can see anything you're saying for the past 2 months.
Yeah. Make it public.
Click.
Take your account off private.
Yeah, you're
Number
really
one
good.
tip.
That's your personal space, right? Some of you maybe want to have private, it just really for your own self-being, right? If you look, Alan Bull and I just did a post. I did a podcast at a hunting show in Utah last week, and he's the top hunter in the world. He has more world records in archery than any living human since they started tracking it, right? And he has a social media presence. He runs a couple companies, and we were talking about how some people are getting caught up in it, right? So define what you're doing, because also, is it bringing you income? That's something too. Some people are so busy yelling and doing stuff, they're not making any money doing it. Or do they just want to do that, right? Define what you do. If you're trying to move a house, if you're trying to promote your brand, make a little social group with you guys in here and learn together and figure out, so you have a really good awareness, so you don't run into that spot of depression and overwhelmingness, right? Nothing's worse than getting caught in that depression. I mean, right now, that's a real thing going on. So to not acknowledge that as you guys are building your platforms out, you don't want to overexpose yourself past a certain level, right? So just have some healthy boundaries. Get a little DMAC buddy, right? As you go through it.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you stay in compliance with putting Silver Creek on there?
So Silver Creek Realty Group on the actual page, or one click away, right? So if you have your website and Silver Creek Realty Group is on the website, it's one click away from that page. If it's any marketing piece, right? Then you don't necessarily have to put it on there. That was actually a beautiful segue into my final closing point here. Silver Creek Realty Group is it's an immense agent network, and you've heard them here, the three of them. They pride themselves in their collaboration, and so do we. And I think that everybody leaving here needs to leave having followed at least 5 people, right? Let's boost our following. I would love to start a forum on our agent network of everybody's Instagram handles, and I would love it if every single Silver Creek Realty Group agent was following each other for collaboration, for ideas, to boost each other, and make sure that we're working in this network together and working to its maximum capacity. In the last few months, I have been searching the hashtag Silver Creek Realty Group. Hashtag Silver Creek Realty Group will notify me that you've posted something. If you put that on your post or if you put it on your story, every single weekday I go through at some point between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. and I try to post everything. If it ends up being at the end of the day, you know that it's been a long day, but just about every single day I've made it happen so that Silver Creek Realty Group is promoting the agents through our stories. We also have the opportunity to do a story takeover. So if you're interested in taking over the Silver Creek Realty Group Instagram story on a Saturday, preferably a Saturday, Sunday if you can convince me, I'll give you the password for our page and you can promote yourself, your brand, what you're doing on our story and get it out to another audience so that you can gain your own following through our following. I think that collaboration is huge. We have the network here. We need to be using it, right? We have the tools. We're in the right place. So let's make some big things happen. We have the room here for a little while, so definitely it's 11 o'clock on the dot. How do we even do that?
Let's get up for Liz.